We are changing between fractions, decimals, and percents. So we learned about percents, we've learned about decimals, we've learned about fractions. We want to connect them and get those set up in a way that you can see that the value of each one and convert to get back and forth between each one. So starting off, I just want you to change or find the decimal equivalent of 51 over 100. All of you should be able to divide by a power of 10. Trenton, what would that be?
51 over, found the death. Oh, 0.51.
0.51, 51 hundredths. Okay, 0.51. You could, if it was a fraction that didn't work out nice and neat, say it was 7/8. What was it? 51 hundredths. If your fraction was 7/8 and you were asked to change that to a decimal, you know how to do that. We've been doing that. So you take the 7 divided by 8 and you'd go to work on that. That's how you change a fraction to a decimal.
But what if it just like continuously keeps going?
Then you would put a repeating sign and that type of thing. If it doesn't work, I think most of them are going to work out for you on these
Okay.
at some point. If not, round it to 2 decimal places and you usually be safe with that. Now the percent equivalent for 51 over 100, you could go the route of putting 51 divided by 100 to find 1%, which is the decimal value. That's 1%, and then taking it times 51. Or the shortcut for changing a decimal to a percent is just moving the decimal to the right
Twice.
2 places. So that would then become 51, and then you put the percent behind it.
So
51 out of 100 is 51%. If you took a math test and got 85 correct on my test, that's 85 out of 100, you got an 85%.
So then you just move over your decimal?
You just, whatever your decimal value is, you move your decimal to the right 2 places,
And then that's the...
and that's the percent. Your problems are going to say, draw the diagram. You have to. This is a have to. On tests, it's a have to. On homework, it's a have to. Draw out this thing. You don't have to write in fraction, decimal, percent necessarily, but I do want you to draw the diagram for this. Complete the table. Begin by inserting the reference numbers. The reference numbers are these problems here. And it's expected through the first couple of tests that we take. Once you get into this, it says on the test, begin by inserting the reference numbers. I'm going to be looking to see that you're inserting the reference numbers. If you're not, I'm going to take a point off. Not a huge issue, but I am going to get you for not listening or not following directions. And here they are. It's the fraction that we started with in our sample problem was 51 over 100. What was the decimal value for that? 0.51 and 51%. That's your reference number from here till the end of the year. If they say draw a table inserting the reference numbers, 51 over 100, 0.51, and then 51%. Those are the ones you use. Those are your guys.
That's right.
That's what it is. That was our first problem with it. That's what we're going to use. And that's just an example for us. Now, changing this percent then, since we have this reference number up here, and we see 51%, Trenton, what would 25% change to? 0.25. So you're taking, again, we don't see the decimal, so it would have to be at the end, and we're moving it 2 places to the left to make it 0.25. Then to change our decimal to a fraction, read this properly. That would be 25 hundredths. So that's 25 over 100, which I do want these reduced to 1/4. One quick thing. I like the way the chart, fortunately, is set up. Maybe they did it on purpose, I don't know. But when you're given the decimal, and we'll see a problem like this, when you're given the decimal and you're going to a percent, you're going to the right to go from here to here. That's the way you move your decimal. Okay? If you're given the percent like we were this time, and we're going backwards to the decimal, you move your decimal that way. Okay, so we're going from here to here, so you move your decimal 2 places. If you're going from here to there, you move your decimal that way 2 places. Okay, reference numbers, 51 over 100, 0.51, and 51%. You are not going to have to draw a chart for each individual problem. If you look at your book, which you guys do not have open, but when you look at that, it's going to show you the chart. You just have to draw the chart that they have, insert the reference numbers once. I'm doing it each time because that's how I set these up for you to see. But 1/16, how do we change that to a decimal?
You divide 1 by 16.
Top number divided by the bottom number. Give yourself some zeros. 16 will not go into 10, so I need a 0 there. 16 goes into 100. 5 would be 80, so that's 6. That's 96. And then 90. Trying to go too fast. Slow down. 96. Then 40. 16 will go into 40. 3 times would be 48, so that'd be 2. It's 32. And then that gives me 80. And 16 goes into 80 5 times. So your decimal works out on that. There's your decimal answer.
And if you move it 2 to the right.
Logan, what do we do to change that to a percent then? Move it right because we're going to the percent. So we move it how many places?
2.
That'd be 6.25. Make sure you put the percent on that. If you don't put the percent, that changes the whole thing. This is what your charts will look like on your homework problems. Redraw this. Again, I'm not going to expect you to draw or say fraction decimal percents if you don't want to. If you want to just put F, D, and P or whatever. But I do want this first row to be your reference numbers, 51 over 100, 0.51, 51%. And then here they're giving us the fraction 1/8, so we need to change that to a decimal by dividing. How many of you know what 1/8 is as a decimal anyway? John? Good, Brittany.
Point 125.
Right, 0.125 is what that would work out to be. So 0.125, and the decimal or the percent value then, we move our decimal 2 places to the right, makes it 12.5%. Here we're given the decimal on this one, so we're going to make that a percent, so that becomes 22%. And then 22, how do I say this properly? 22 hundredths. And then reduce that to 11 over 50. So that's what these problems will actually look like in your book. This is what you'll do in your box or on your homework.
Sounds good.
All right, your assignment, problem set 55. Let's see, I do want to reduce it down because I wouldn't want homework this weekend with it being the last weekend before Christmas. I'm not saying you're not going to have homework, but I'm trying to reduce it a little bit, depending on how much you put into it. Reference numbers.
About 15.
What did we do? We did do 1 through 30, so let's go 6 through 16. And should have put 17. Let's go 17 through 29. Show your work. Got it?
So it's basically.
Show your work.
Oh, 17.
11, and then another, you're talking 15 to 20 problems, give or take. And that is due Monday. So let me write that down before I forget. 6 through 17, and actually 6 through 16 I wrote it. 6 through 16, 17 through 29.
It's only 18 problems.
Good deal. Alright. So
what are we going to do?
you're going to sit here for a little bit, get to work, and once I'm ready to leave, then I'm going to send you down to the gym. You're going to go up in the mezzanine, and Coach Adamson will, or not Coach Oran's going to be in charge of you, but you'll work on things up there. Okay?
I record.
Good point. Thank you.